Good morning, Ekoji. Welcome to our Sunday morning service. My name is Ed Sands. I will be your service chairperson today. We are grateful for your presence. This morning's service is a hybrid one, both in person and it's free live via Zoom as well as on the 19th this morning is our resident minister, Reverend Nariaki Hayashi. Our main priority is keeping our Sangha a safe place to hear the Dharma. Although we are very happy to see each other, please be mindful of others' comfort levels. Please keep your masks on at all times. They are required. Please be mindful of social. We are allowed to chant along with Reverend Hayashi. Our masks on. Thank you for your understanding and feel free to participate at this level. Reverend Hayashi will now lead us in an opening meditation and recitation of the hymns.
Meditations provide a cause that deters our minds from speech. Please place your hands on your lap. Lower your head slightly and release tension from meditation. Namo Amida.
We will now sing the Vandana T. Sarana, the three refuges, found on the examination insert, which is in each service book. Please rise. Please be seated. Please turn to page 29 in the service book, and we will now chant the Samvita. service book or the chanting of the Juice hymn. Morning, the Dhamma message is given by Reverend Ashes.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Sunday service, and happy 4th of July. So, all of a sudden, we stopped hearing the cicadas crying, right? It looks like the 17-year cicada event, the massive event, has ended around this area. I'm not sure about, other states, but at least around this area. And I believe many of you are feeling relieved. At one point, the cicadas, they were like flying all over the place. And I remember when I went to a park, when the cicadas were at their peak, almost everyone at that park were trying to kind of, avoid the cicadas, right? So they were kind of moving around. And it was so, funny watching them, it was like, they were like dancing, like, Michael Jackson in Thriller. They're like doing all this stuff. This year, the 17-year cicadas were focused, so much. But as many of you know, that there are many kinds of cicadas, various kinds of cicadas throughout the world. For example, in Japan, it is said that there are more than 30 kinds of cicadas. And since there are so many different types of cicadas in Japan, you actually have no choice but to hear them, all of them, all day long, everywhere. In any case, the larva, the larva of the cicada, usually they come out around the summer time, the summer season, when it gets hot, starts to get hot. For this reason, there's a Buddhist saying, cicada does not know spring and fall, but only summer. Cicada does not know spring and fall, but only summer. So this is a well-known saying, but when you really think about it, if they do not know spring and fall, how would they know summer? I mean, we have the concept of summer, but with the cicada. So this made me think of the relationship between the words and concepts. The words we use and the concepts we understand, words and concepts. Some people think that our words and concepts are very related, and words shapes how we think about them. For example, it is said the Aborigines in Australia, they do not have the words for left and right. Instead of using the words left and right, they use the compass directions. So if a person is facing east and you want to know what's in that person's left hand, then you will ask, what is in your north hand? Of course, not in English, in their language. And if that person turns around, and if you want to know what's in that person's left hand again, then you will ask what's in your south hand, right? In our case, which direction we face, we would always say, what is in your left hand? What is in your right hand, right? So we ask accordingly to how we see things, whereas the Aborigines ask accordingly to the movement of the sun. No matter which way we face, left is always left for us, right is always right for us. So we decide and not the sun. Taught in this way, the words that we usually use in everyday life, like left and right, can be a lesson of our egotism. The same can be said about reading Buddhist sutras or texts in English without being aware that they are translations. They're translations. We read the words of Shakyamuni Buddha, who lived in India in English, but he did not speak English. We also read, Shinran, the founder of our denomination of Shin Buddhism, who lived in Japan in English, but he did not read or even speak English. Of course, the teachings of Buddha were translated many times in many different languages before it was translated into English. This is actually why I like the version of the Vandana Tisarana we are currently using. So we recently purchased this new service book. So the old one was purple, but we recently purchased this and we are using it every week. And actually, there is a Vandana Tisarana in the back of this book, the service book. But I personally prefer the old version, and that's why we have this. This is what I prefer because it is written in 3 different languages: Sanskrit, Japanese, and English. Thus, it makes it clear that sutras are not written in English, that they were originally made in India and was rendered in Chinese character and re-rendered in Chinese form of Japanese before it was put into English. When I think about how many Japanese words are not the same when you translate it in English, I start to worry how many Chinese words are not the same when translated into Japanese, and the same with Sanskrit as well. Of course, I do trust the translators, but doing the Vandana Tisarana in these 3 languages makes me aware of how limited my understanding of the Buddha's teachings can be, despite my constant study of it. Just because I read, for instance, the 3 Pure Land Sutras, which are fundamental to our denomination of Shin Buddhism, just because I read them, I read them in English many times, doesn't mean that I know everything about it. I may understand what is written in them when I read it in Japanese or English, but when I consider how they came from different languages, such as Chinese and also Sanskrit, I am reminded of how much more there is to read and how much more there is to grasp. So there's much more. At that point, I see how far the Dharma transcends me. But I'm also reminded how in the Pure Land teachings, the transcendency of the Dharma is expressed in the form of Amida Buddha. And this may be one reason of why Shinran often emphasizes the nature of Amida Buddha as to be inconceivable in many of his writings. One of which is in the Hymns of the Pure Land, where he states, "The majestic light transcending form is beyond description. Thus, Amida is called Buddha of inexpressible light. All the Buddhas praise this light, the cause by which Amida's Buddhahood was fulfilled." Therefore, just because the Dharma is ultimately beyond our grasp, it does not mean that we are helpless or lost. We can engage the Dharma in the form of Amida Buddha. This is especially so because in Pure Land Buddhism, the feeling of the heart is as important as the rational, logical thinking of the conscious mind. This idea is expressed in the Buddhist expression, furitsumonji, which literally means words and letters cannot stand, which is usually translated as spiritual awakening cannot be experienced with words and letters. Spiritual awakening cannot be experienced with words and letters. Rational, logical thinking of the conscious mind may be the only way to understand concepts, but Pure Land Buddhism is not only the matter of concepts. As I said, it is about the feeling we all have as well. Therefore, it is not just the mind, but it's also the heart. This is why I like the Vandana Tisarana in 3 different languages, because it gives a feeling of the inconceivable nature of the Dharma. So for conclusion, I would like to let us all read. We sang it before, but we'll read it. So I'll start off. So please follow. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddhang saranam gacchami, Dhamman saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namu kie butsu. Namu kie ho. Namu kie so. Please join me in that. By reciting the Nembutsu Namo Amida Butsu, we are reminded what makes our individual lives even more meaningful, and we are also reminded the Dharma in times of need. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Sensei. During this part of the service, we perform the ritual of Oshoka, the burning of incense. Due to the interim policies of the board, incense burning is not currently being allowed because of the sharing of the incense and the resulting smoke. We invite you to come up to the front table and offer gasho and place a dana, which is our offering of gratitude to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, in the bowl on the table. Please be aware of your surroundings and look mindfully. Once done, please return to your seats via the side aisles. Okay, will now lead us in closing meditation and recitation of the Name.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you for coming, everyone. We have a few announcements. The first one is that we are going to have a music and arts fundraiser, and this will occur on Saturday, August the 7th, from 6 to 8 p.m. And this is a virtual fundraiser, so please keep an eye out on the website for further information. Also, if you'd like to stay for our weekly Dharma discussion group that will occur over here by the computer, and that will last until about 12:15, all are welcome. We are still collecting socks for the Eastern Buddhist League service project, and there's a bin out in the foyer, and if you can bring some new socks and contribute, that would be great. Also, in-person meditation has resumed, and this is now on Thursday evenings at 7:30 p.m. We are still looking for steward group leaders, and this is a very easy way to become involved in the temple and get to meet other people and contribute to the maintenance of the temple and other activities as well. Also, and lastly, Next Sunday is our annual Abode service. On Sunday, July the 11th at 11 a.m. And this will be a hybrid in-person and streaming service. But it is the Hatsubo Memorial Service as well for our loved ones who have passed away before us since the last Abode in 2020. This is a special service asking us to take a moment from our busy schedules to remember with deep gratitude those who profoundly touched us as we walk life's path. If you have lost a loved one, a dear friend, or a family member during the past year and would like to participate in the Hatsubo service, please contact Ekoji at ekoji.info@gmail.com. And it's on the website. You'll just need to provide the name of the deceased, the date of death, your name, and the relationship to the deceased, and your email. Thank you. Did I not mention cleanup? Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. So today was temple cleanup, and some folks turned out, and we were very grateful. But a special thanks to Bob Shimokaji and Roger, who turned out very early. And Roger has been absolutely wonderful. He cleaned the gutters recently. Yeah, last weekend. I don't know how you do that, but that's really cool. But thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you. I thank you, Bob.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.